In the midst of March Madness, Florida State also has a football team on the field looking to get better for 2021. We will talk both, actually, believe it or not, here on Florida State Seminoles Live. We got Jason Parker ready to go from NBC6, Logan Robinson from Nole GameDay, of course, lurking out there somewhere. We saw him for a split second before we came live. Big game, James Coleman has promised to do his best to join us a little bit later. Boys, how we doing tonight?
We're doing good. James has assured us that once he gets some decent Wi-Fi, he'll be okay. He'll join us. But I feel like, Logan, we need to address the topic. Logan and I haven't been together for 3 weeks. But, Logan, I think the general public needs to know, how drunk did you get on St. Patrick's Day?
It was ridiculous. I had told them in the group chat at around, getting close to 6, I'd be a little bit late. I said I'd be here at 6:15. That didn't actually even happen. I don't remember really touching my phone for a good long while until I made it home. But the best idea was actually to go out and drink more, and that's what happened. We showered, we recouped. I actually had an assignment to turn in too, so we were able to do all of that and then go back out once I made it home around 7:30. So thank you for checking on me, Jason. I've missed you a lot. And I did have to take a few shots before getting on here as usual to see you. And so that's what you keep me a regular alcoholic. So
you can blame me for a lot of things. Your alcoholism is on your own. That's your problem right there. You need to take care of that. How much were you hurting on Thursday, I guess, is my big question. Or are you just already where you used to it by now?
Very bad. Usually my Tuesdays and Thursdays are off days. I don't have work then. So I do my schoolwork. I'll go to the gym in the morning. But a lot of those things just didn't happen the next day. And the hangovers hit differently now. Yeah. And I've got to start taking care of myself better.
It's going to get worse. Just giving you a heads up. It will get worse.
I believe in you. I believe that.
Logan's already making those kind of comments. At your age, Logan, you've already terrible. Hit that.
They're awful. I just don't stop. I just don't know when to stop, really. And
look at his look at his experience. He's got a batting average that's solid when it comes to the blood alcohol content level. So if his blood alcohol content was his GPA, he'd be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be just fine. But hey, the best part about it though is that we were able to recoup and be ready for the fun time, which was Saturday when we actually got to go back into Doak. A few of us did.
Doak for now.
You did.
But let's get to the scrimmage, which we may see one this Saturday, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Another one this Saturday?
And that's what I was alluding to, Mark. The scrimmage was held this last Saturday in Doak. Kind of a cold day, a little windy kind of day. I don't know if you had a lead into it, Mark, if you had something going into it, but
I got nothing except the boys scrimmaged, and we need your take on it. Then we'll get to Jason.
You were the only one there, so we need your help, man.
Well, I had too many shots on Friday night. I'm just kidding. No, Saturday was fun. It felt good to be back inside Doak. There was only maybe about 30 people. A good amount of recruits were there. Of course, all the credentialed media was there too, but got to see the guys in pads, got to see the early enrollees in person. First comes up to me a guy that doesn't look like he's a early enrollee right now is Joshua Burrell. We've heard a lot about him, the wide receiver. Jason, we've talked about him. He's made some catches that we've seen when the players were allowed to share footage. That has stopped abruptly. I think Norvell was not too happy with that, just like James was talking about a few weeks ago. That got cut off. But Joshua Burrell looks like a junior. And there's a lot of things, the running back unit is one that I was looking to see how well Corbin was doing along with DJ Williams, who just arrived, and just seeing how these guys looked. But, the best running back in the room right now, and this is something we've been noting online and everything is Trayshawn Ward, the walk-on running back. He looked like the best running back in the room, and this wasn't really a shocker to me. We've seen him have some flashes in some games, but the thing is, we hear about him in practice all the time, and the really thing that was hindering him is getting that playbook down. It's more of a mental thing for him, but he was by far the best, probably the best player. He was the best player during Florida State's scrimmage. There was a lot of there'd be different cycles. So the first quarterback was Jordan Travis. He led them down to a touchdown in a matter of maybe under 10 plays, made the defense look a little out of sorts. But Jordan Travis led a nice drive down. I believe he hit on Ontario Wilson on a quick, easy slant to start off the scrimmage. And then just a little bit later, we got to see Mackenzie Milton. Was a little off. Wasn't really with it as much. Short passes, weren't getting to his receivers. And but there was a drive, though, where Norvell put Mackenzie Milton on the 3-yard line, heading the opposite way, of course, and led them down for a touchdown on a long drive against the starting defense for Florida State. So took him a little bit to warm up, but quarterbacks wise, everybody looked about the same. I'd say Jordan Travis had the best out of all of them, but Roadmaker didn't look too terrible. Threw an interception, but Roadmaker looks a lot more composed than he had, that we've seen him definitely in games, but he's more composed, reading the defense, having call-outs. But yeah, just a very, very, and you can tell the structure of these scrimmages, it's so damn organized. I've never seen, Mike Norvell's cussing out his coaches because they're stepping off from the sideline while they're running plays. He's calling out his coaches' ass, telling them, what are we doing? What are you doing? What's going on? Just very organized, because you'll go into doing, there'll be different guys going in and out, but then boom, you're going into a special teams practice. Like you'll just go into a drill that guys are in there, that gives some of the position coaches times to talk to the starters, go through what they're seeing, things that are changing. So it's about 3 hours of straight nonstop, and then you'll have a few meetings here and there, but you're still doing a special teams or something still going on 24/7. So,
Logan,
yeah.
question for you: who would you say, judging by, and you talked about the quarterbacks? Obviously, Chuba Purdy is not going to be taking part of the spring as he recovers from his surgery. Who would you say? Which player would you say overachieved the most during the scrimmage and underachieved the most? Who surprised you, and who kind of maybe disappointed you a little bit as far as individual players or positions? What were your thoughts?
Someone that maybe surprised. I would still say it was really impressive to see Trayshawn Ward be a walk-on and lead the running backs there. Corbin was kind of hindered at the beginning of the scrimmage, so we didn't get to see a lot of him, along with DJ Williams. I believe both of them were they got kind of nicked at the beginning, and the staff didn't want them out there much longer. But Trayshawn Ward was more impressive to me than Toa Philly. Toa Philly still had a solid scrimmage, and he always has those up the middle plays where he can use his speed. But Trayshawn Ward just has better vision than I think most of the running backs in this stable right now. And, it's between Preston Daniel and probably him on who's going to get that next scholarship. I thought it was just going to be solidified that Preston Daniel, the walk-on tight end, was going to get it, but Trayshawn Ward is working himself up there. Someone that maybe, I don't know if I have someone that was like maybe not so impressive to me. I'm going through because I was doing like play-by-play here inside of our Discord, but someone that maybe wasn't so impressive. We've talked a ton about Jermaine Johnson. He was back there a little bit, but he didn't really have a huge, fantastic day. There was no one that had a bad day at this scrimmage. I know there's just a lot of talk about Jermaine Johnson, the hype there, and Florida State's wanting to get that pass rush, but Florida State's offensive line did look solid for the most part during the first couple series when they had a full set on that line. They were leading blocks. They had a good running game going. They led down and scored right away with Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis had a very nice ball to Ontario Wilson on the sideline, right where he could only grab it, and it was a beautiful ball. And Terry Wilson made a fantastic catch too, but that's something that, we've been talking about, where over the shoulder balls from Jordan Travis, he struggled with, but he landed a perfect one that kept that drive going. I believe that was 3rd and long. So I don't know if anybody had like a too terrible of a game, or scrimmage, I should say, but the spring is more of learning, I think, than anything. The first one, things will definitely, I think, change. I'll probably have someone that I'll call out if they had a bad scrimmage after this next one on Saturday morning. But it's just more of the newbies getting in there. But you also want to see the chemistry between Mackenzie Milton. If it was something that wasn't too impressive, I'd probably say Milton's first scrimmage. But then again, he led a 97-yard drive with a new team during the spring. And so you take that.
You
Do you
didn't
think
talk-
they asked him? Do you think they asked him to do a lot, or in terms of throws, difficult throws?
For Milton, there wasn't, for all three quarterbacks, there wasn't really a big change in the play calling. I know Roadmaker actually had most time of any quarterbacks out there. I don't know if that's because, you got your probably two potential starting guys, but Roadmaker was out there for a very large amount of the scrimmage. And he looked fine. He had he had a few bad balls, but one that was intercepted, but he was out there for a majority of the time for the quarterbacks. But I don't think there was much of a change between, Milton and the different maybe routes or different kind of packages they were going against Adam Fuller with. But both quarterbacks, I think they were set at the same mark between under Norvell and Dillingham.
What about on the defensive side of the ball? You talked a lot about the offense, but what do you see both from the defensive side of the ball as well as some of the early enrollees and some of the transfers who came in, how they performed so far?
Yep. So Jermaine Johnson definitely looks like he's come from the SEC. That's a big boy. And he did get back there. He did get back there quite a bit. It's always tough whenever you're like, he's rushing. I feel like some of these plays should be called dead because he's back there. I think he's going to be able to grab a sack. But Jermaine Johnson's a big cat. I thought probably for me defensively, who impressed me the most physical was lockdown, jamming his guy. It was Jamie Robinson, the transfer from South Carolina. He was very physical on the line with his receivers that he was faced up against. He had one big hit on it was Cameron McDonald. Cameron McDonald is not a little kid. Cameron McDonald's a big boy, tight end, and Jamie Robinson lit him up, kind of energized the defense there. But from his coverages that I'd watch on him, definitely in red zone, there was no way the ball was going to go near them over there. It was just under lockdown too much. So I think Jamie Robinson, to me, defensively during that scrimmage impressed me the most. There was a few guys. I mean, Quashawn Fuller, had a very nice scrimmage. Big hit, practically laid out a dude on goal line, but he was getting after the quarterback for a good amount of Saturday morning. Someone that flashed who, wasn't, some of these guys will flash, but Quashawn Fuller along with Josh Griffiths, two, I guess you could say backup tight ends right now, or defensive ends right now that, they really want to get some playing time. So it's good to see these two cats behind Jermaine Johnson. Keir Thomas wasn't out there. So a lot of the Quashawn Fuller and Griffiths got a lot of time. So the Quashawn Fuller and Griffiths had a nice day too. So I thought we'd see a lot of Gainer. Gainer was out there a lot, but not many big flashes. He did have one big hit, but other than that, I'm trying to think defensively.
I give you credit, man. Between your drinking and the fact that you were able to remember nothing,
I'm impressed.
I was doing inside of our Discord here, we're able to go through like a mic on here. So I'd have my AirPods in. So I'd be there doing play-by-plays, telling our people there was maybe like 30 people listening to me. So I'd be telling them what's going on, play-by-play. And then Dustin's in here, which I'm reading off of. He's got probably 2,000 words of things. He's doing play-by-play with text going on. So that's kind of like what I'm going through the timeline of what's going on. Like Milton finds a wide open Cameron McDonald in the middle of the zone for nearly 30 yards. True Thompson got a sack.
You're impressive. I was too busy watching us kick Miami's butt in baseball. You were out here at the football field. So.
It's just good to be back around football, man. I just like the yelling. Definitely when there's not a lot of people there, you get to hear the coaches, really. I mean, Coach Atkins is really impressive to hear whenever you're right there. I mean, when we were leaving the stadium, he was making the offensive linemen do up downs. Just wasn't happy, I guess, with the day, or just maybe it's just a small thing and he's just strict like it is. But Dante Lucas was kind of hindered in the middle of the scrimmage, but that doesn't matter. He had Dante Lucas doing sit-ups while they were doing up downs.
So the offensive line coach wasn't happy with the offensive line's play.
I hope he just has any.
But yet I get attacked in this room for saying the same thing.
Sir, I told you they had a solid first couple of drives when the starting unit was out there, and then after that it was switching out multiple second string. We got walk-ons in, but the first couple of drives, I mean, Deshaun Ward looked like Reggie Bush. I'm joking, but I'm joking. But, you know, either way, you could have a great day and there could be just one little screw up, and that's just what a coach does. You're going to have to eat it.
One little screw up, losing by 32 points to Louisville. It's just anything can happen.
Well, Jason,
yes,
in 98 shows, I think there's a few things we've learned about Logan besides his drinking habits. We know that he loves coaches who get in guys' face and yell at them. He loves guys working out. He's all about, let's get in the weight room. Let's see what they're doing in the weight room. Let's see if they've improved their bodies over the off season.
Yeah,
he loves guys getting blown up.
I love
seeing that.
Yeah,
he loves chicken.
I'm staying on the football field here. Okay, we got the drinking, the chicken covered. Yeah.
I was going to note on here too, a player that I really didn't see come off the field was true freshman wide receiver Malik McLean from IMG. He was out there by far the most player on the field. I mean, it didn't matter which quarterback was in there, which offensive line, whichever package or second string walk-ons. He was on the field for a majority of the time, which I thought was pretty interesting because I was hearing some things during tour of duty and things that he really needed to, get right, get his mental state right. But, Norvell and Dillingham and Ron Dugans, they threw him out there for a majority of that scrimmage, not even a majority, like 90% of it. And he had a really nice day too. Him and Roadmaker connected on a few balls, and he's fast too. I believe right here I've got a Roadmaker to McLean for about 25 yards, and I think that was on the mix of the first and second string defense at this point of the scrimmage. So
let's thank Dustin for his transcribing there.
That's really what I mean. This right here, he kills it. I think he needs to go into like the. When you go to court, he can be the one that's just sitting there typing.
The word is stenographer.
Well, yeah. Well, you say it, and I just kind of explain it. So you say the word for me, and I just kind of explain it.
It's a big word.
Gainer lit up Toa Philly, which is good stuff. Toa Philly also doesn't look like he's gained a pound.
Okay.
And yeah. I mean, there's so many. It's just so good to be back in stadium and players getting cussed out, big hits. There was music in the background. There was music behind the whole time. But this is kind of Norvell's game plan. So what he's doing is he's bringing recruits. He's opening the scrimmage up so you can bring recruits into the stands. And what he did, so the PA came up and said, after the scrimmage, you can come down and take pictures on the field. So what the team did, they had their scrimmage, they left, and then recruits all went down and took pictures in the middle and about the field.
Logan acted like a recruit. He went down and took some pictures too.
I went to go get Chick-fil-A. Get some Chick-fil-A.
The official sponsor of Nole GameDay.
But it's just all a game plan. That's because no one can visit right now. They can't official visit. So what Norvell's doing is he's going to do this again on Saturday. There's a ton of Nico Marchiol's coming in town this weekend. And it's just going to be kind of big recruiting weekend. Come watch scrimmage, listen to music that's their taste. And so, that's just kind of what Norvell's game plan is right now, at least for this spring, heading into the spring game on April 10th. And it's kind of smart.
Hopefully it's my collection of music, a little Pop Smoke, a little, the baby,
That's your collection. I always thought you were saying, I thought you were going to go a whole different direction. But
no.
I respect that. Pop Smoke.
I don't listen to that Leonard Skinner like you and Mike Norvell.
Music
there, so. Now, I will give Logan some credit. He did call it Bobby Bowden Field. He didn't call it by what its soon-to-be former name.
Let's head in that direction here.
Logan has already changed.
If we're done with the scrimmage. But we'll remind everyone, this is Florida State Seminoles Live every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Eastern Time, unless Logan's got alternate plans, and then we shift the show for him. But otherwise, it's Wednesday night, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. And we want to invite everyone to leave your comments or questions in the live chat. There's been some questions out there, but I just think that they're very premature. Like we're asking who's going to start at cornerback, who's going to start at quarterback. A lot of those kind of questions in the live chat that if you guys want to address, go to it, but they seem to be a little premature. And again, we'll remind everyone, leave your comments. Your individual contributions through the super chat are certainly welcome. And the Amazon link, grab that Amazon link, shop Amazon, use the link in the description section, helps us build the channel, as well as we've got Florida State masks available for you Florida State fans. We've got free masks. You can get your free Florida State. Hey, get this down, Jason. You get your free mask at Voice of College Football. You can get.
Look at that.
You guys should check out the options that we've got at the voiceofcollegefootball.com.
See,
so
look at
that. We've got a model here that can model. I don't know if the mask that I'm giving away looks like that, but I appreciate the effort, Jason. Looks good on you.
I have about 12 of them. I'll send you one. Don't worry.
So voiceofcollegefootball.com. I'll put the banner up here in a second. Voiceofcollegefootball.com. At the top, it says register for free. You get a free mask. You get 20% off the first purchase. You don't have to purchase, but you get 20% off. And then you get thrown into a $25 gift card entry as well. There you go.
I love it.
Doak Campbell Stadium, possibly no more. Jason, take it away.
Soon to be the former Doak Campbell Stadium. Last week, the school's anti-racism task force, otherwise known as the Historical Legacy Subcommittee, there was a proposal to keep the name. They voted down the proposal 6-2. So now it goes towards the full committee, the final recommendation for their next meeting, where the full 30-member anti-racism, equity, and inclusion task force will vote on it. And it's hard for me because I was raised with it being Doak Campbell Stadium. Logan was raised with it being Doak Campbell Stadium. I was a student when they added Bobby Bowden Field in 2004. You're going to have a segment of the fan base, of the alumni base, that's always going to call it Doak Campbell Stadium. Just like they're going to call it what Washington's former NFL team, what their nickname was, what Cleveland's baseball team, what their nickname will soon be changing from. You're going to always have that. So I feel like Doak Campbell's name will always be associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, obviously this was brought forth by a former football player, former linebacker Kendrick Scott. And if there's a group of people, African Americans, former football players, former students, black students at the school, if they are genuinely upset by it, I feel like their opinion needs to be taken seriously on this. And the record shows, if you look at Doak Campbell's past, he was an ardent segregationist. He was ardent in keeping black students, minority students out of Florida State. So I feel like, yes, he brought football in. He was the president of the school when the school became co-educational, brought men into the school. First football team in 1947 is because of him. He should be praised for that. But you have to, when you're going to look at the good, you got to look at the bad. And there was a lot of bad things that he did when he was there. So I feel like it is time for a change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree. And this has been talked about for almost 2 years now. And Florida State now has a committee, and they've got a few players on the board too that are giving advice. And I think that's a great idea too. So, it'll always be, it's really just the Doak word. I'm not saying, I'm going to Doak Campbell Stadium. It's all about, hey, I'll see you at Doak or whatever. And that's just, I don't know. That's not going to change right off the bat. It's going to take a long while. But I think there's a lot of opportunities for when this name change happens. How can Florida State also, get a win out of it too with, obviously, you're changing the name. That helps a ton. And that's great. But, Florida State is also struggling financially in this in a lot of ways. And how could this maybe work out? Or do you give this to Bobby Bowden Stadium and you do the field name differently? How does that work out? Because, you're looking at Bobby Bowden now who, is at a higher age. Could we get this? Could this happen? Could this transition happen of the stadium name to him? While he's with us, to be able to celebrate this, I think is something that that I wouldn't be surprised if the program's looking at that. Try to get a timeline on when they can do that. But could it be there's a few other stadiums in college ball that are named after a company or brand. How can Florida State make some revenue out of this, yearly or, whatever they want to do, 2-3 year plans. But, Florida State could, this could be the right move and can really help in a lot of ways too if they want to go in the financial route and finding sponsors.
I think Logan is correct when he says that. Would I mind if they called it Coca-Cola Stadium, Home Depot Stadium, whatever, and insert corporate sponsor here stadium?
Mm-hmm.
It would be cheesy, but it would bring in that much needed money. That being said, I think from a PR aspect, I think it has to become Bobby Bowden Stadium. I think Logan said it right there. This is a man who, Bobby Bowden is 91 years old now. He's up there. Let's just be honest. He's more towards the end than he is towards the beginning. Let's just be perfectly honest with you. Not funny, MRHD. Not funny. Not funny at all. It brings up bad memories. Bad.
Right, stadium.
Most of them were actually in Miami, so let's be honest. Only one of them. Of inside the Bobby Bowden field.
Tell them. No, I do think. Bobby built. Everybody talks about Bobby Bowden built that stadium. It would be an incredible situation, and it'd be incredible to be able to call him. I'm heading to Bobby Bowden Stadium. It just sounds right. It just absolutely sounds right. You've already got Bobby Bowden Field, but I think there's.
And most people don't know until you say, "Oh, who is Doak Campbell?" And then you have to say, "Oh, he was the president of the school, and it became coeducational. He was the one who instituted the bringing the football team." Yeah, Mark, I guarantee you, we had to explain that to you who Doak Campbell was.
I had no idea.
Last summer, right? So Bobby Bowden, naming it Bobby Bowden Stadium, would both bring back the fans, who some of them left the program, some of them became a little disenchanted, I guess be the right word, with the program when he left after the 2009 season. It would bring him back. Bobby Bowden did more for that program in his time. In his short first 4 seasons, he had us undefeated in the Orange Bowl in his 4th season here at Florida State. It's an honor he deserves at this point. So, and like Logan said, he's 91 years old. There's not going to be that many football seasons left where we can truly honor him. He got vaccinated. He can come down the field. I say name Bobby Bowden Stadium. When the time comes, hopefully it's a long time from now, you can look at maybe corporate sponsoring it, or like Logan said, maybe make the field corporate sponsor or something like that. You can look at that down the road. But for the 2021 season, it should be Bobby Bowden Stadium. I think that's the way to go.
I've been scanning the nation. I can't come up with an individual who is more tied to the success of that particular football program than Bobby Bowden. Nobody. I can't think of anybody, because if you go to any of the other heavyweights across the nation, they've had multiple coaches who were successful. And obviously Florida State was successful post Bobby Bowden with a national championship under Jimbo Fisher, but he took it from nothing, as Jason has outlined many times, in the mid-70s to greatness. And he, that required the contributions of many, but he was at the forefront and led that. I won't even call it a resurgence. It was an emergence.
And I just want to address real quick to the comment you have on here from John Sarin. Thank you for watching. The solution to having to know, that's not even proper English, but the solution to having to know and remember history, I believe you meant no longer use any names or reference to history, I guess. So you have no problem with putting somebody's name on the stadium who said, "I don't want black students in the school," with a football team that, what would you say, Logan? Our football team is 80% black? 85% black?
Give me, it's high, 85 to 90.
85% black. So you see no problem with that. If you want to put up a plaque, even if you want to argue maybe even a statue of him at the stadium and his achievement about making the school coeducational and instituting the first football team, I personally wouldn't like that, but I also personally wouldn't have a problem with that. But to put his name on the stadium when you're saying, this is a man who said, "I don't want black people in the school," with 85% black people on that football team, that's the problem with it, John. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. It's hard for me to listen to white people, and I'm going to say it. It's hard for me to listen to white people telling black people and telling people who are against this, well, this is why you shouldn't feel this way. You don't know how a black person feels. You don't know how Kendrick Scott feels, or any other black person who has played football for Florida State may feel when they're seeing Doak Campbell up there and when they learn about that history. So it is something, and if it stays up, that's fine. If it comes down, that's fine. I'm still going to be a Florida State grad no matter what. I'm still going to come out to those games no matter what the name of the stadium is. But you just have to look at the history and you have to own up to it. Was Doak Campbell good for bringing football in and instituting, being a part of the school of his co-educational? Yes. Was he an ardent segregationist? Yes. Which one is more important?
Mm-hmm. No, it's a great point because it's something that we wrestle with in this country all over the place now in looking at, okay, what did this individual do in regards to them contributing to the development of whatever area of the country that is versus what were their personal values and stances in this case, and in many cases that we've seen debated over the last year in terms of being a racist. And so you have to wrestle with that. But in this particular case, to Jason's point, when you talk about, I would have certain issues with it if there was one black player on the football team, but just the reality of having, to what they're telling us, 85% of the roster being black is just makes absolutely no sense. And it's offensive and it's not right.
But you know what isn't offensive, Mark? It's never been offensive for the first 97 weeks. It isn't offensive here on the 98th week with Mark Rogers TV, the Wisconsin College Football, hitting that like button. That's never been offensive one time, right, Logan?
It's never been offensive and never will be, and the future relies on hitting the like button and any kind of social media platform. But YouTube on its own, one of the best social media platforms, hitting that like button just changes the game. Hitting the like button means that you're here to ride with us, even if some things you don't agree with us on, or you just want to kind of give us some support to Mark. We definitely appreciate it. We try to get on here at least once a week. We're on 98 shows, one of the longest lasting shows with Mark, one of the longest, and we've been running it for a good while. And I would definitely appreciate it. We got 53 people watching right now and only 25 likes. And I know some of y'all are on your phone. It's one of the easiest things to do. Hitting that like button and subscribing to this YouTube channel will help us a lot.
David wants us to go drink. He's got beers for you. I don't drink anymore, but I mean I don't know. This is gonna be a problem.
I will be there, David. I don't know where we're getting those shots or beers from, but all I hear is beers and shots.
Logan, you can drink for me.
I'll drink for you. It's like hearing, when they shake the cat treats, they just come. They're just darting at you. They're just on your leg, like purring. They're like, give it to me. That's kind of like me when I hear someone's getting shots and beers for me.
There's going to come a time where you're going to get older and that one beer is going to get you. It's going to happen one day.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to take advantage of the youngness while I can.
Enjoy it while you can, my friend. Enjoy it.
David's a big Notre Dame fan.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Then we will see him. David, come down to Tallahassee for opening weekend. We will be there.
Yeah.
Logan will take you to Bullwinkle's. You may make it to the game the next day. Who knows?
Good segue into our next topic.
It is
Notre Dame coming off a playoff season. Could they possibly be the most difficult opponent on the schedule? Jason, we have basically sized up a schedule in which Florida State should be the favorite in 7 games, but there's 5 games, unless things change drastically, that they're going to be a pretty clear underdog. Let's see, Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Florida. And so the most difficult opponent, Jason wanted to serve this one up, Logan. The most difficult opponent on Florida State's schedule.
I don't think it's Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is a very good opponent. I think it's a tough challenge to start off the season. I think they do lose a lot of components off last year's playoff team. They got blown out by Alabama. But if you were to say toughest opponent right now, as we're filming this on March 24th, everyone wants to say Clemson. I think Clemson lost a lot of people. I'm going to say the toughest opponent right now is North Carolina. Because I think what we saw with North Carolina, they lose a lot on the running game. They lose a lot of other weapons. They still have Sam Howell. Sam Howell scares me at quarterback. I saw what Sam Howell did here, when they played Miami in the last week of the season. I saw what they did in the Orange Bowl. I think it's also the unknown. Because I think North Carolina could go back to being a 7-5 team. North Carolina could also be 10-2, 11-1. I think it's going to be North Carolina. The North Carolina-Miami game will be what decides the Coastal Division. So I think North Carolina right now is the toughest game. I think the way things play out, it could also end up being Miami because we talked about it a little bit last week while Logan was busy getting drunk. Miami's schedule plays out to where you have Alabama to start the season. They go to North Carolina. And I say this with all due respect. Oh, come on, Ronan. You can always give abuse, buddy. Miami should conceivably, other than the Alabama game, could conceivably win every other game. And by the time they come down and play us on November 13th, could honestly be that they could be a top 10 team. They could also choke. So that's one of the things right now. I think Clemson is the surefire, easy choice, but I think North Carolina and Miami could, by the time we play them, be tougher opponents.
Getting some love there, Jason, on your take from earlier.
Appreciate it. I keep it real with my fans, even though they're all Miami stuff. I don't know how to feel about this. But I appreciate it. Thank you, Mike. I do sincerely appreciate it. Who do you think, Logan? Who would you say right now is the toughest opponent?
I still think the toughest, just looking back, I mean, it's hard to just ignore Clemson. I think you're obviously losing Trevor Lawrence, but I don't think he's such a just huge, gigantic game changer. I really don't. They've got so many cats at wide receiver. ETN was ETN. I don't think he was that spectacular. So, I mean, a quarterback change to me where they're still bringing in Ojubugabajugi.
I'm sorry.
Ojubugajaguji. He's coming in, and it seems like he might even be just better athletic. It might be a better athletic player, and it might end up being a better player than Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence had a ton of hype, and that's expected. He has long hair, and he can throw the football to 5-star wide receivers. I still think Clemson's the biggest one here. ETN was nice. He stayed there because Dabo was going to give him $250,000 and tell him to keep his mouth shut, and he stayed there for 4 years. Well, I mean, do I have to state the obvious?
You've got a scoop.
We state the obvious. Well, just be like Kirby Smart, giving off a couple of hundos for staying. But there was no reason for Travis Etienne to stay again, but he did. Didn't work out. You didn't get a national championship out of it, but at least you were able to beat the ACC all-time rushing record. Congrats on that. Dalvin Cook's 10 times better than you. But yeah, so I don't think right now, Clemson, they're losing Trevor Lawrence. You got ETN. I forget which wide receivers, but I still think the Clemson's by far going to be the toughest opponent. I mean, it all depends on the first game. Notre Dame is Notre Dame. That's a first game for anybody coming in is going to be tough, but I still think Clemson, Dabo knows Florida State right now. I think it's going to take a year or two for Norvell to be ready to go one-on-one with him. I'm sure he's going to try to do as much as he can this year. It's just not gonna happen. But I think Clemson by far to me is going to be the toughest. And then I don't know who number 2 would be. I mean, possibly Florida, but Dan Mullen wants to go to the NFL, but he won't be honest.
I think my thing with Clemson, you talked about it a little bit there, with Trevor Lawrence being gone, but also Etienne being gone. I feel like that's going to be probably the same loss because I think he saved them in a lot of games last year. But I feel like we're in the disadvantage, and Mark talked about this when the schedule first came out, about how difficult our schedule is versus Clemson. Clemson doesn't have to play North Carolina. They don't have to play Miami. As we look at their schedule real quick, their cross division is Georgia Tech and Pitt. That's their cross division. North Carolina and Miami play each other, obviously, because they're in the division, but they're light years ahead of the rest of the Coastal. So we're going to be playing these teams that have theoretically soft schedules before they face us. So it's not like they're going to be as challenged. That's the problem we're going to play. To me, North Carolina and Miami, I would say, are tougher because you know what you're going to have against Clemson. You know Clemson is going to try to put 80 on us after last year's game got canceled. They're going to try to run up the score on us. Miami and North Carolina with the unknown of what they're going to be when we play North Carolina on October 9th, when we play Miami on November 13th. That's why they scare me. I feel like they're tougher right now because of what Miami could be by the time we play them.
Mm-hmm. The key departures right now from Clemson are obviously Trevor Lawrence, Jackson Carman, who's offensive tackle, Travis Etienne, who we just talked about. 2 wide receivers right here, Cornell Powell and Amari Rogers. Obviously, Amari Rogers, fantastic, talented wide receiver in the slot, who I think led the nation in slot receptions. But you're returning, Ugujulagabalaga at quarterback, and then you've got Ujugujugabalaba at quarterback, who I think is a very skilled quarterback. There's just a lot of talk about Trevor Lawrence. We get it, but when it comes down to some of the big games for him, weren't too phenomenal. I think DJ is going to fit the role nicely under Dabo, and then they're bringing back talent at wide receiver, at running back too. And so, I think Clemson's still going to be with it, and I think they have a good quarterback, and they're always going to have wide receivers, and that's always going to be a problem.
Logan's making a bold statement here, saying that Clemson is upgraded at quarterback with over Trevor Lawrence, who's going to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah. Well, anybody will draft the Jaguars. Need anything? I mean, they could draft Jason tomorrow, and might be better.
For the record, I'd hold out for more money. Second of all, I don't. Before the Clemson fans start sending the hate mail and threatening my life again in Twitter, I'm not saying that Clemson will not win the ACC. I think Clemson is the clear favorite to win the ACC again this year. So everyone calm down. You're probably going to win a 7th straight ACC title.
I think Clemson's decidedly the best team on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Not by a ton, but I think decidedly. I don't have to think about that question. I think North Carolina is probably second, but I think North Carolina, Notre Dame, Miami, and who am I missing? Florida are pretty much in a group of their top 15 type teams in the country.
I just feel like Clemson. We know what Clemson's going to be. I feel like there's that unknown of North Carolina and Miami that it makes it tougher. It's almost like all those times that Georgia Tech. How many times did Georgia Tech beat us in football and beat us in basketball when they ran that damn option offense? That damn option offense that you never saw, you would only have 1 week to prepare for, and it would kill us. That's why they beat us 49-44 in 2009. We were clearly a better team. Yes, I agree with Cheryl. Just pronounce the name. It's just
Uiagalelei.
That's actually pretty damn close.
Ugh.
I'll be even mark a little bit of credit on that one. That was actually pretty good. I like that. But that's why Georgia Tech was always that kind of weird team. That's why North Carolina and Miami to me are tougher, because you don't know what they're going to be at this point.
Mm-hmm. People, I might have moved on from Natty Light to some serious weed. Well, no, not weed. Maybe more serious beers. That's a comment in here from John. John said
Mark, save us.
There is a comment though about Trevor Purdy in there. I don't know if we're done on our topic of hardest schedule, but
I mean, we had a whole topic discussion that Mark was going to go with. But.
Yeah, tackle Purdy. We do? I thought I hit all your topics.
Multiple.
What are we looking at?
Okay, I'll ask you both this question. Who does Florida State have a better chance? And before the haters start saying, I'm not saying they will. Who does Florida State have a better chance of beating this year, Logan? Florida or Miami?
Miami.
You think Miami? Because, go ahead.
I'm not sold on King being fully healthy by then. I mean, I don't know what his projection is. I mean, it was just ACL, right?
But yes, ACL and some other ligaments in there.
I think it is Miami. I don't think Florida is going to be fantastic, though. I don't think they're going to have a season like they did last year either. So it's more of a tougher question on figuring out who these two teams are going to be whenever we see them in their first 3 games. But I think right now, at least, it's going to be Miami. But I mean, I know Miami fans are going to be like, "Well, we whipped you by that many points." Blah blah. A lot can change in a year. If one head coach wasn't on the sideline, number 2 didn't have a spring at all, barely had a fall camp, and obviously didn't even know who Florida State's starting quarterback should be. You had to figure that out a few games in. So I think a lot is going to change for Florida State. But in being able to compete with these two teams right here, I'm going with Miami Hurricanes on a better chance of beating.
I understand where you're coming from. You're dead wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. An 80% Derek King is better than a 100% Emory Jones. Is better than a 100% Anthony Richardson. I believe that's the backup quarterback for Florida entering the spring. Florida lost so much. And for the record, I think Florida will be a favorite when they play us. I think Miami will be a favorite when they play us. I think you're going to have, number one, the fact that Florida lost so many players from last year's team that lost their final 3 games and had a huge letdown from the LSU loss, the Alabama loss, and then the blowout loss to Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. That's number one. Number two, Miami only plays, I've said this before, I sound like a broken record. They only play Alabama, North Carolina, and we'll throw it in there. They play us. Now, we're probably the third toughest game on their schedule right now, if you look at it. And it's only because they come to us. I would argue why we're the number 3 on their schedule right now. Florida plays Alabama. They play LSU. They go to LSU. They play Alabama the third game of the season. They play Tennessee. They play Georgia. So there's your 4 tough SEC games. Their non-conference slate is not as easy as it has been in the past. They still have to play FAU. They go to USF for the first time. I think they win both those games easily, but it's not cakewalks. They don't have a cakewalk schedule by the time. They're going to have some guys beat up by the time we play them at the end of the season. Now, if we are also a better team this year than we were last year, which I think we both will agree we will be a better team, how much better still is undecided. I think it sets up for the perfect storm where I think we have a better chance to beat Florida. Am I guaranteeing to win right now? No. I think right now I'd say we have probably, if you're saying give me a percentage, I'd say it's 60-40 Florida to Miami.
You know, the thing about, Florida, the only reason I'd give them more of a chance at this kind of discussion is that you lose Kyle Trask, you lose Kyle Pitts, you lose Kadarius Toney, and you lose Trevor Grimes. That's a huge, huge loss on Dan Mullen's offensive side. And the even more scarier part, and I said this months ago, who's throwing the football? Who's going to be throwing the football for the Gators? I mean, Eric Gilbert's leaving Florida because he saw one full week of practice of Emory Jones throwing the football, and he's already in the transfer portal. 5-star tight end from LSU doesn't want any part of Emory Jones being his quarterback. So I think Florida's in some serious trouble at quarterback, and they're going to have to figure out what to do. But they still bring back Jacob Copeland, Justin Shorter, and Elam, UF's DB. So I don't know. I mean, the biggest factor there is at quarterback. I mean, Gilbert doesn't want none of that, but he's also got his own.
And the Florida people I talk to say that they're going to go from being a team that threw the ball 65% of the time with Kyle Trask to completely the opposite, where they're going to be a running team because Emory Jones, if you watched him at all, they would only feel confident letting him make certain throws, like right down the seam, slants. They wouldn't give him any difficult throws when he would come in relief of Trask and give him those packages.
And then when Alabama murder balls him in the third game of the season, and then they all of a sudden have Anthony Richardson coming in at quarterback, they'll be fine. But let's be honest, why Logan thinks that we have a better chance to beat Miami than Florida. Logan hates everything south of I-4. He hates everything from like Orlando down I-4 into Tampa, so he kind of doesn't like downtown Tampa because it's south of I-4, but he doesn't like Orlando because it's kind of right, it straddles I-4. So anything south of I-4, so that's why he hates us down here in South Florida. It's fine, Logan. We'll bring you down.
No.
We can bring you to South Beach. You can go party with everyone on Miami Beach at South Beach.
Never.
There's plenty of space available right now, but if you come down, we'll be fine.
You saw my tweet. You saw my tweet. I did say earlier this week, is it just me or does anyone else not have any kind of interest to go visit Miami? That was me. I tweeted that too. So you're right on. You are right on. I have no interest in being near South Beach or Miami.
First of all, nobody from South Florida goes to South Beach on spring break. That's rule number one. So you can definitely tell it was tourists. Nobody from here actually goes there. That's number one. Number two, I have told you, we will embrace it. I will take you to some of the finer areas down here. We'll get you a gorgeous Latin woman. You said you're looking for a girlfriend.
That's true. Latinas.
If you're a girl, Logan's looking for him. He needs a girlfriend. We need to get him a girlfriend. I'm telling you, we'll bring you a beautiful chica. She'll call you Poppy. It'll be good to go. And we got you.
I am looking. I mean, Latinas are definitely my favorite. So, and that might be maybe I'm just doing it all wrong. Maybe I need to get down there for a week and I spend time and enjoy it.
Get a cafecito. You'll forget all about alcohol. You'll have coffee. We'll get you a Guayabera shirt. It'll be good to go.
I'll be just perfect there. I can't be wrong. I mean, that would be the main factor is really the Latinas. You reminded me of that. That changes a lot too. And my meter on do I go, do I visit? And when you say Latinas, that gives it helps.
Right, Mark?
Pardon me?
What's that? Yeah, sorry.
So you got both of us back on here now, so you just never know what's coming. You just never know.
There. New King God, I predict Georgia Tech will be a better team than FSU this year. I predicted Oklahoma State would kick your butt in the Cheez-It Bowl. Oh, one of us is right.
I predict that you're on.
They give us $5. So I will say thank you, New King God. You're an idiot to say what you wrote in the comment section. Lay off the weed. Give some to Logan if he wants it. That's fine. But sorry, New King. I'm not going to. Georgia Tech's going to get smoked by Notre Dame. They're going to get smoked by Clemson. They're going to get smoked by Miami. They're going to get smoked by North Carolina. There's 4 losses right there.
You know what New King God can say?
What can he say?
He can say who won the last time they played. Who's got bragging rights?
Does he even know where Miami's campus is? Georgia Tech. All right, they played Northern Illinois. They're going to get an L there. They'll beat Kennesaw State. I will guarantee you that. They'll lose to Clemson. They'll lose to North Carolina. They'll lose to Pitt. They'll beat Duke. They'll lose to Virginia. They'll lose to Virginia Tech. Lose to Miami. Lose to Boston College. Lose to Notre Dame and lose to Georgia. Maybe 2-10 at best. 2-10. Book it. Yeah. Louisiana Tech did stop Miami too. I remember that. That was fun times.
This is from 21 earlier. He tried asking a question, and this is a pretty interesting topic that it needs to be talked about. I did not see Chuba Purdy at all on the sideline during the scrimmage. He's dealing with rehab on his upper body, but then again, I saw Damari Tate and Leonard Warner on carts being able to scoot around and still be there in attendance for the scrimmage. So this becomes a question on what's the situation with Chuba Purdy? What's going on? Because hearing so many things that his staff isn't too happy with him. Showed up to tour of duty, started that, throwing up, threw up for multiple workouts. All right, he's throwing up, he's partying too much. Okay. Shows up first week of practice. They give him clearance to throw. Nothing too special. And then you're in the second week and you're no longer a part of what's going on right now. If you're rehabbing, I think you as a quarterback, you'd like to be in attendance to a spring scrimmage. That might just be me. But, what does this do now for your potential future quarterback? Should anybody be worried about him, Jason? Is he partying? Is he partying too much like me? What's going on?
He hasn't reached Logan Robinson level yet.
I don't know.
Control his drinking like you. He hasn't gone Logan St. Patrick's Day style yet. I'll say that much. I will say this. I could conceivably, and James, we've talked about this in past weeks about whether we think Tate Rodemaker is going to transfer or Chuba's going to transfer. I think one of them does transfer. In the past, I was saying Tate because I thought, after what we saw in his stellar performance against Jacksonville State, you didn't see anything from him. I can see Chuba transferring, whether it's back out to the West Coast, whether it's to the Midwest. Obviously, his brother won the Fiesta Bowl for Iowa State. I could see him going. I think he bought into the Norvell approach when Norvell came in and recruited and said, "Come on in. We don't know who our quarterback's going to be. You can come in and do this." He couldn't beat out Jordan Travis, who was not the best quarterback, was more of a running quarterback than a throwing quarterback. He couldn't beat out James Blackman, who ended up going to the transfer portal before the season even ended. I mean, at a certain point, you have to cut bait. Go back to Arizona. Go back to Arizona State. Everyone forgets he's not an East Coast guy. His dad played baseball at Miami. His dad's from the Central Florida area, but he's not an East Coast guy. So at this point, you may almost say it might almost be a best interest move.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But like I said, Tate Rodemaker, we were hearing early things about him and practice and looked sharp, looked like he was the best passer. And then I thought just being able to I like going off of what I get to see in person, but his composure is a lot different than what it was when I got to see him play in the game. And obviously this is a scrimmage, but still you got first team Florida State defense coming out. You got Jermaine Johnson coming up from the on the side of you, Quashawn Fuller coming in, True Thompson, Dennis Briggs. I mean, Roadmaker looked poised. So, it is going to be a discussion throughout this offseason of, which direction is Chuba Purdy wanting to go here. And I think, Norvell and the things that we were hearing, it goes perfectly with the timeline. The staff wasn't really too happy with him at the beginning of the tour of duty, showing up completely out of shape and not feeling too good. And then when he comes to practice, it just seems like there wasn't a lot of focus on rehab and keeping in shape. And Norvell is one to see a lot out of him, but right now, Tate Roadmaker is improving and is surprising a lot of people, and that's a good thing to see for a guy who's able to change that kind of narrative, because it was kind of a Bailey Hawkman kind of narrative, Jason, where Bailey Hawkman is there's a reason why he's, I think, still in the transfer portal. I mean, he's gone to 3 colleges now. No, he's at JUCO now, I believe. There's a reason why that is. I got to spend a little bit of time with him.
Hey, be good to the lefties, okay? Left-handed prop.
Oh yeah, true. But yeah, there's it's good to see Roadmaker, improving right now.
Before we go here, as we enter the final 5 minutes of our time here, Mark, I'm going to kind of take over for a second.
when does that never happen?
We have something. First of all, show some respect to the number 2 in charge of Logan. I'm going to say this. We've talked about a lot of subjects, but we haven't talked about the most important thing. For the 3rd straight NCAA tournament, the Florida State basketball team is jamming with Coach Ham in the Sweet 16. Mark, how excited are you that we are going to get a chance to beat your hated rivals, the Michigan Wolverines? How excited are you to cheer for the Garnet and Gold on Sunday at 5 o'clock?
I'm more excited that it's 7 o'clock Eastern time, and so our time is run out. And so you have missed your opportunity to talk basketball for 10 minutes. We've hit the end of the show.
We have 1 hour. We have 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. At least give me the last 3.5 minutes.
I've got 7 even here.
We started at 6:03. We started late.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up in 2 minutes. How excited am I? I'm so excited that I guarantee at 5 o'clock on Sunday, I will not have any thought of that game going on.
Logan, how drunk will you be Sunday at 5 o'clock?
I will be intoxicated, but in a more mature way this time. On Saturday, that was just
scary.
No, that wasn't. That was just not too great. But I can't wait for this game. Leonard Hamilton's. It seems like there's a little bit of a wake up call here. Anthony Polite comes out of nowhere. It is going to be a fun game once again. It's a revenge tour here. Can Florida State get the revenge on the Michigan Wolverines? They're missing their best player.
This is my question. Does Florida State have the capability to pull off the upset and then play, I believe it's either Alabama or UCLA, would be in the Elite Eight?
I'd rather face UCLA. I don't really want to face Alabama that much. But, I think the hardest point right now is really facing Michigan. I just don't know who. I can't even. I don't think the team needs to think that way either. Michigan is a team of its own. That thing can. They got some players. They got some players that can face off really well against a tall team like Florida State. So
bold prediction time. Mm-hmm. Next Wednesday when we record this, episode 99. Are we annoying Mark with talk of a Final Four appearance? The second Final Four appearance in program history.
Would it be next Tuesday? It
would be they would play next Sunday, and then if the Elite Eight would be on Tuesday. So next Wednesday, are we still jamming with Coach Ham?
God, it's going to be on a Tuesday. Ooh, and I have a bye week from softball on Tuesday night. I need this to happen now. We jamming?
Are we jamming with Coach Ham next Wednesday?
If Florida State beats Michigan, I for some reason I think if Florida State beats Michigan, I think there's a way better chance for Florida State to get back to that Final Four. I'm more cautious of Michigan than anything. I just got to do a percentage. I'm at like a 70. I'm at like a 70% that Florida State can handle it. It just really depends on if they play like they did this last game where they had that energy, they had that funness, they had their alley-oops, they looked dominating, they were fired up. Malik Osborne's flexing on people. They had that kind of like energy, that BDE, like I like to say. The chat probably knows what that is. But if you have that BDE like Florida State can, then boom, there you go, because they need it.
I can see Mark's got that little throbbing headache starting in his head because we're not talking about college football. I just see it right now. If you take a look, folks, look at Mark's forehead right now. He's like, oh my God, what the hell are we talking? There it is right there. Massage it out. So next Wednesday, we're either talking about the Final Four, second Final Four in FSU's program history, if they make it, or we're sitting Shiva for the basketball team, one or the other.
Do you want to tell Jordan Bowman something real quick, Jason? He said that the Pac-12 is undefeated in the tournament. Did he watch this March Madness, or was it last year's?
He doesn't know yet. I get it.
He's a Clemson fan. He's a Clemson fan.
Colorado's not on the Pacific Coast, but I don't think they got the memo. It's okay. Say we're done with it.
D-Rock Irish reminding me it's 7:03.
We're done. We finished in an hour. I'm sorry. You're the other one.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Appreciate you stopping by. Go watch the basketball this weekend. Big game against Michigan. Go get them Noles. All right.
Look at that.
How do you like that, Jason?
That was nice.
That was huge.
That was great. We got the Mark Rogers endorsement. That's solid. It's right up there with Popeyes. Right up there.
Do I root for Michigan being in the Big Ten or Florida State?
No.
You know who you're rooting for. Garnet and Gold. You know
The last remaining Big Ten team in the tournament.
for a reason.
Ohio State. Yikes.
Yeah, it's been an embarrassment for the Big Ten.
Shout out to Oral Roberts. You're an evangelical school. I don't agree with a lot of your politics, but you beat Florida, so you're good with me for at least a year.
Get your Florida State or other team mask. voiceofcollegefootball.com. Register for free. See you next week. See everyone else at 8 o'clock for our call-in show. Yes, you may even look as good as Jason in your mask.
Help.
Man, that's hanging up there. And we're
still here.
That thing's just, I can't do anything.